This is the Paul McGUIRE Report. I'm Paul McGUIRE. We in America are about to fall into a totalitarian state where, in the cruelest of terms, we will have our freedoms, like freedom of the press, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, etc., stolen from us. Our cities will be captured. We will be taken over by an enemy that is evil and infected with an ideological madness, which, if the pastors were preaching the truth, every Christian would know that the driving force, the motivating force of communism and Marxism, and yes, even socialism, the driving force and the motivating force of those antichrist systems like Marxism, please hear me, the driving force is Satanism and the worship of Lucifer, the torture and the evil that energizes what is known as the communist or Marxist system. At the root of it, this is from 35 years of study. It's in my book, The Greatest Battle for the Hearts and Minds of Mankind in the History of the World. When you studied all the philosophers and the intellectuals and the historians who analyzed the communist Marxist revolutionary movement, they all concurred that what energized all the communist dictators and all the communist governments had nothing to do with communist Marxist words like a worker's paradise, free health care, redistributing the wealth fairly, giving everybody a great job, implementing social justice. All those goodies, all those promises of a utopian communist paradise were all lies. They were all lies, and all of the communist leaders, when these accurate historians would explore their lives, they discovered that none of the communist leaders, the big ones, they had no interest whatsoever in bringing about a communist utopia, a worker's paradise. They had no interest whatsoever in redistributing the wealth fairly. They had no interest whatsoever in health care for all and great jobs for all. In other words, all the things that the communists and the socialists and the Marxists promised the masses to get them to follow them in their vain communist revolution mean nothing. In every single case, when they examine the lives and beliefs of these communist dictators, what they discovered, without exception, was every one of these communist leaders and dictators had no interest in implementing the communist agenda. What motivated and energized every communist Marxist leader without exception, what motivated them was, number one, they all had a intensely passionate hatred for Jesus Christ. They had a passionate hatred for Jesus Christ, for Christianity, for the Bible, for biblical values, for biblical morals. Anything that had to do with the biblical God, anything that had to do with the Bible, anything that had to do with Christianity or Jesus Christ or the apostles, anything at all that affirmed or promoted Christianity and Christ and the goodness and the love of God, every single one of these communist dictators and leaders without exception had an insatiable hatred. They passionately despised, totally hated, and were consumed with a bloodlust and a desire to murder, destroy, trample upon, and kill with incredible cruelty any person who promoted or said they were a Christian. In other words, you see, the big expose regarding communism and Marxism was the communist Marxist dictators they cared nothing for implementing communist principles. Their driving force, every single one of them, was their total despising of Christianity, Christian morals, and Christian beliefs. Now, that dynamic has not changed. You transpose that dynamic into today's world, into America, all right? Which is what we're supposed to do when we undergo what's called historical analysis. That's why you need to read books. You need to read my books. You need to get them, read them, distribute them at paulmcguire.us. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Without vision, the people perish. And most importantly, those that do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So this resurgence, and it's an irrational resurgence, this romance by young people and politicians and others who have irrationally fallen in love again with communism, Marxism, and socialism. The reason that they've been able to embrace irrationally communism, Marxism, and socialism is because they deliberately chose, with an act of their will, to reject all of the historical truths that reveal what communism, Marxism, and socialism was really all about. And what communism, Marxism, and socialism was really all about had nothing whatsoever to do with a workers' paradise and social justice and healthcare and food and jobs and building a utopia for the future, building a better world. None of those things. Those are all seductive words, but they're all lies. None of those things are but what really happened in these communist nations. So now you have female politicians, male politicians of all races and ethnic groups at very high levels in American society, in the media, in the entertainment business, in nations around the world. And they have collectively and irrationally joined together, bonded themselves with an international revolutionary communist movement which believes things like the ends justify the means. And that simple little communist statement simply means that as a communist, you are entitled, you have permission to do absolutely anything, no matter how evil, no matter how horrific, no matter how sadistic. You have full permission to do it as long as you're doing it to carry out a communist revolution. The ends justify the means. So another way of saying this is by any means necessary. Anyone who believes in communism, and we have them in the White House and political organizations and in the media and all over the place, every communist, every Marxist believes in their heart that they're allowed to break all laws of morality and goodness, and that they're allowed to do anything, no matter how sadistic, horrible, evil, or cruel. Communism says, by any means necessary, you're allowed to do whatever it takes to accomplish a full-blown communist revolution. And so that's why you see in nation after nation, let's just take China. China is hell on earth. There are cameras, mass surveillance aimed at everybody with augmented social reality where there are numerical scores, like digital scores, going up and going down, superimposed over their bodies as they're walking around China, constantly calculating a negative toll or a positive toll, constantly ranking them on how good a communist they are. And if they're not a perfect communist, the penalty is the kind of penalty that Adolf Hitler would have given out in Nazi Germany. You see, that's what we're up against. But simultaneously, while you and I are up against this formidable spiritual enemy, we have allowed the Church of Jesus Christ in America to be infiltrated by men and women who truly believe in their bone marrow and DNA that they're allowed to do anything, no matter what it takes, by any means necessary. They can lie, cheat, steal, and murder by any means necessary if it will enable them to accomplish their communist revolution. Now, what you have to understand here is that the only reason this nightmare exists is because there is a huge percentage of Christian pastors, Christian churches, Christian megachurches, ordinary Christians, Christian board members, Christian evangelistic organizations and ministries, Christian colleges and universities and seminaries. They are inundated. They have been invaded by communist, Marxist, socialist techniques for destroying the church from within and destroying America and implementing a communist totalitarian regime. That's what's happening right now. We are in motion. What you and I have seen over the last year happening in our cities, think about this, is so horrific. It's such a monstrosity. It's so evil that none of us would have dared to think that that level of evil and that level of acceleration of Marxist evil would have even been remotely possible in America just 10 or 20 years ago. What you have to understand is it goes deeper than this. This is why you must have knowledge, because knowledge is power. The truth of the matter is, this is deeper than communist revolutionaries and communists and young communists and anarchists. The hidden agenda, the root of all of this is this fact, and you need to understand this fact by reading. I explain all of this to you in my book, A Prophecy of the Future of America, Conquering the Matrix, and the Babylon Code, and other books that you can get at a financial discount book bundle at paulmcguire.us. This is what I've discovered after 40 years of research and personally being involved in many of these movements. What I've discovered is that there is subversion, deception, and infiltration going on at the very highest levels of American society. And that the real head of the octopus, the real darkest creature in the swamp, is not communists. They're the foot soldiers. The head of the octopus is the fact that there exists a globalist elite with trillions of dollars of money. There exists a globalist elite, the 1% of the 1% of the population, who are super trillionaires. They may only consist of about 12 individuals, the wealthiest individuals in planet Earth, or 12 international banking families. The existence of this globalist elite that have unlimited wealth and power, it is the globalist elite, the 1% of the 1%, that it is the existence of the 12 men who rule the world. They are the ones, this small nucleus of people, they are the ones that have mapped out a master plan to enslave the masses of planet Earth by any means necessary. They are right now in the process of taking over totally all of our mass media communications, which means the globalist elite are taking over our internet, our social media, our video, our entertainment industry, our television industry, our news media industry, every form of communication, every form of electronic communication, every form of banking and finance is being taken over by this globalist elite, whose game plan is to subjugate every nation on planet Earth and transform it into a part of a global dictatorship where they rule and reign planet Earth. They have been talking about this in their books for thousands of years. It goes back to the Greek philosopher Plato and his book Plato's Republic, in which the legendary super civilization of Atlantis, which many people thought may have been ancient Babylon, and ancient Atlantis used and discovered high technology, science, mathematics, and physics, and Atlantis was ruled by a globalist elite. It was ruled by 10 to 12 philosopher kings or 10 to 12 God Kings. Just like Aldous Huxley, one of the master planners of the New World Order, wrote in his book, Brave New World, that the masses of planet Earth would be ruled by a scientific dictatorship that used scientific mind control to program the masses. All of these elements, all of these revolutionary social transformations that are produced by a combination of dehumanized thinking and succumbing to satanic thinking, all of these revolutionary movements are designed to propel our world into and under the rulership of a scientific dictatorship implemented by artificial intelligence, where every man and woman on planet Earth is, through wireless technology, plugged into a world brain or a hive mind, in which the ultimate occult, techno-fascist, global planetary government will emerge, that the Bible warns about, known as Mystery Babylon, ruled by Antichrist, a world charismatic leader, who is helped by the false prophet who creates a one-world religion and a one-world economic system. This trinity of the Antichrist, Satan, and the false prophet brings about a satanic trinity, and their intention under the directives of Lucifer and Satan is to place Earth, make Earth prison Earth, and make Earth a prison planet in which Lucifer is not only just the temporary god of this world, but Lucifer, through his deceit and deception, becomes the perpetual, permanent god of this world. And everything that you and I are involved in, every struggle and temptation our family faces, our nation faces, the lack of good men and women everywhere, all of this is converging. All of this is swirling around us like a cosmic spiritual superstorm. And we are about to enter into what the great Satanist Aleister Crowley called the new Aeon, A-E-O-N, or the Age of Aquarius. The occult leaders like Madame Blavatsky, I talk all about Madame Blavatsky. Her occult religion is the religion of the United Nations, secretly. I quote her in my book, The Greatest Battle for the Hearts and Minds of Mankind in the History of the World. And they say openly in their books, Madame Blavatsky and others, that these cruel dictators like Hitler and Stalin and Lenin and Chairman Mao, they actually say that they were sent by God to bring our world into the new satanic eon, the new satanic age. That's where Earth is headed, except for one thing. For those of us that read and study Bible prophecy, we recognize that Satan's plan for a new world order, first mapped out in ancient Babylon at the time of the Tower of Babel, Satan's plan for a new world order is going to be interrupted severely by the second coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. So when the battle is furious, when the battle rages, Jesus Christ is going to return from heaven, riding a white horse. Behind him, following Jesus Christ, are the armies of heaven, the angelic armies, and Jesus Christ, along with the armies of heaven, will descend from the heavenlies down upon earth and they will invade Satan, the Antichrist, the false prophet, all those who have accepted the mark of the beast, the fallen angels, the demons, and all those men and women who sold their souls to the devil. Jesus Christ is coming as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and he is going to destroy, conquer, and subjugate Satan, the Antichrist, and the false prophet. Deception will be so intense that literally the armies of the earth, both Navy, both Space Force, both military, that the armies of the earth will unify in the valley of Megiddo, and they will fire nuclear missiles and laser beams and science fiction type weapons. The armies of the earth will fire science fiction type weapons into the upper atmosphere in a vain effort to destroy, murder, and kill Jesus Christ at his second coming as he descends upon the valley of Megiddo, and he is being fought by the armies and the nations of this earth. But Jesus Christ will be victorious at Megiddo. Jesus Christ will win this final battle at Armageddon. And after he destroys Satan and Lucifer, after he locks up the false prophet, the Antichrist, all those who accepted the mark of the beast, after Jesus Christ destroys all of those people and then sends them into the lake of fire forever and ever, then Jesus Christ will rule planet Earth from the new capital of earth, Jerusalem, and he will be Jesus Christ will be a co-ruler with King David in the fulfillment of the Abrahamic covenant. And then finally, in this process, Jesus Christ will bring in the new heaven, the new earth, and the new Jerusalem. And behold, old things pass away, all things become new. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm asking you to join me in this communication of this message. I'm asking you to choose to ask God and to become a spiritual prayer warrior for me, my family, and this ministry. Your prayers are spiritual weapons. And I'm asking you to send our messages, our links, so that we can do an end run around the evil big tech censorship. I'm asking you to do that, to spread these messages far and wide. And then finally, I'm asking you with childlike faith, knowing the reality of what is happening, knowing that our time is short, I'm asking you to go before the Lord and ask the Lord to simply tell you, to simply speak to you and say, Jesus, show me how much you want me to donate to Paul McGUIRE Ministries and Paradise Mountain Church. Lord, show me how much you want me to give financially to Paul McGUIRE Ministries and Paradise Mountain Church so that we can win this spiritual war. And then whatever God tells you to do, whether it's a very large amount, a modest amount, a smaller amount, but you're giving it on a regular basis, whatever God tells you to do, obey him, and he'll bless you for it. And together, we'll take the land. God bless you. This is Paul McGUIRE. Visit paulmcguire.us. That's paulmcguire.us. Make sure you know in advance where our Roku channel is. paulmcguire.us is on Roku. You can watch over 100 hours or 100 different programs on Bible prophecy teaching that I've given, interviews that I've given. We have the Paul McGUIRE Report archives, thousands of hours you can listen to, all the books available to you, all the free articles with illustrations available to you at paulmcguire.us. So know about the Roku channel, know about the Brighteon.com channel, know about Twitter, and all the other new locations we'll be launching. God bless you. This is Paul McGuire. Visit paulmcguire.us.